what was the biggest problem you had before coming into yield school?
Emotional trading. The thing is, I think this is Las Vegas. I thought about it more. It was a Las Vegas mentality because I did hit it big a few times on securities and I did hit it big on a couple coins, right? And I just kept thinking, okay, I'm doing this, but I was doing it, Frank, without really any knowledge, right? I would read a little bit. I didn't do any of the research that's going on your end, and I think that was the problem. And the biggest problem is I didn't know when to sell, right?
Mm,
It's easy to buy, but you make money or profits when you sell, right? But
yeah.
I never knew when to sell, and I can't not tell you. I mean, it's a big. I That was a problem because I kept holding on, thinking, oh, it's going to go higher, it's going to go higher. It's all the things that you describe, or the team describes in all of their postings and stuff. Like mindset. Is it mindset? What you call? There's one posting.
My opening topic is on mindset and the
Yeah, yeah,
discipline you need to have to do this market.
right. And that I have to say was my biggest challenge. It was completely. Once I got I mean, not to say I've been perfect through this whole thing. I did make a mistake in this since I've joined. But the thing is, that was my biggest challenge. It was hands down was my biggest challenge.
Okay, and what have you experienced at yield school that has helped you with that problem?
Um, First, I think for me, it's almost like a therapy session, to be honest with you.
Sure, yeah.
Right? I mean, to have Raphael to speak to, and having him sort of guide me because first he it took a few sessions, but once you trust somebody and you can open up to them, it really makes a huge difference, right? So it didn't take much, didn't take long with him at all, but getting his trust, I could see that he understood what I was going through, right? He got it. He was able to grasp it. So that was very important, and the reinforcement of all of sort of the basic principles that you guys teach
Mm,
uh, through um, his sessions was really helpful. The other thing that was really amazing to me, and I don't know how you created your program, Frank, but it's reinforced, right? The same message is reinforced through the chats, through your associates. Um, you know, that was amazing. The reason I say this, Frank, and I'm talking too much, but is that I'm a physician, but uh, my academic background for the last 30 years has been education. So as an educator of physicians, we had to figure out how to best change people's ways so that they could adapt. And a lot of the techniques that I use, I was amazed that you had incorporated into your program. Now, I don't know if you're an educator, you're an attorney, but maybe you're an educator attorney, but somebody in your group really understands education. It was pretty amazing to me to see the parallels between what you were doing and what I was doing uh, in my on my side in medicine. So
I appreciate that feedback.
I'm serious. You nailed it at every single level of education. You really, whether you knew it or not, but you put into place what needed to be done. And it's not. So one of the things about education is when you bring a newbie like me and you teach them all the fundamentals, right? And then they go, but then a lot of educational programs stop there. That you didn't stop there. And what I've realized, and actually I'm using some of your techniques in what I'm going to do now, is how do you teach the advanced learner, right? And you've really done that. You've done that very well with your level two. That's whole one thing. But even in your live sessions and in your postings, it's not for that. They're not all for beginners, right?
Yeah.
But you really address the needs of the entire, I would say, clientele that you have.
Mm.
Uh, and again, that may people may not see it, but I look at this through the education view, and really, I think you really have nailed it. Whether you, whoever, I don't know if you have a PhD or a master's person.
No,
Is
I'm taking all the credit.
okay, you should take the credit.
No, we've got a
No,
big
no, you
team.
did something. Somebody taught you right because I was amazed. I really thought you probably I thought you might have hired somebody with a master's or PhD in education.
How has your experience been with the one-on-one support?
Oh, it's awesome because it's in the moment, right? Because I'm doing a transaction or something, or I'm getting ready to do the transaction. So for as a newbie, I need somebody to hold my hand to give me build the confidence. And what that has been very important because it allows me to apply the techniques, but always have somebody on my shoulder, right? So it's okay, I'm going to go back to education. I'm sorry, Frank, but the best way to learn is to have constant feedback, good feedback as well as uh, feedback on opportunities, right? Not negative. I don't want to use negative terms, which your team never uses, by the way. There's never a negative term used. It's always positive, right? You don't even follow the, five positives, then one negative, because your team never puts a negative in. It's always positive. But the thing about the immediate chat sessions is that it gives me immediate feedback on a process that I want to learn so that I can get better right away, right? So it's not something that I'll forget because it's in the moment. So that to me, that is great. And then if I have like the question like CJ, right? I reach out to CJ all the time because I love the way he writes.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll ask him a question about what he's written privately. Now, I hate putting, I'm embarrassed to put it in the chat in the comment section.
Sure.
But if I see he's on, I'll ask. And it's really a great um, uh, one-to-one session, really to ask very specific questions about something he's written.
Great. CJ, yeah, he never sleeps. He is seemingly always working, which I appreciate. Okay. How about your experience with your associate, Raphael?
you know, when I think about, so I think about the tuition, right? We have to talk about the tuition, which is quite, is it a lot? In medicine, it's a moderate amount, but to me, I think that's where the value. I mean, there's a lot of value in all your program, but when you get somebody, you have your own person that you get to know and they get to know you. I don't think it's like a private tutor. There's nothing more valuable, right? Because first we connected, which was my I was very nervous about that because connection between two people is so valuable to move forward, right? Because if there's any hesitation, but you know, he I think the first couple sessions, it was really get to know each other, get to know me, what I wanted to do. And that's where everything started to get a little bit more individualized, which again was very, I think, important because there's more than 100 things that you could talk about. But he really was able to get to know me. And I think from that point on, it became just a dialogue. It was a great session. First having somebody with so much experience, so much knowledge, and the ability to actually explain what he's learned in a way that I can understand was huge, right? It's like having a college professor in a one-on-one session. You can't get that from reading. You can't get that from watching a lecture because it's really sort of focused in on your needs. And then to get to be able to suck all that experience out of him and for him to be able to explain it to me on a chat, which I think the video chat is equally as important because when he pulls up the trading view graphs and draws and does all this stuff, it really focuses in on what I need, right? It's not about what he wants to teach me. Um, and in education, sorry again, Frank, in
No, no,
education,
that's good.
the way we teach kids is kids have no idea what they want to learn. So we have to teach them everything. We just throw everything at them. But when an adult wants to learn, we have some experience and we want to learn about what we are currently interested in or doing. And the one-to-one session does exactly that. It focuses in on my interests, focuses in on what I want to do, so that I when I turn off the video chat, I'll remember probably 90% of what he says because it's about what I wanted to learn. So that's what is great about those sessions. It's just and it's individualized for me. So I couldn't ask for more. And the other thing is he's so enthusiastic, right? He's always encouraging. He's always enthusiastic. Um, that's that. It's important, and I really feel like he told me we only had 2 sessions left. I told him I was going to cry because I couldn't believe we were coming to an end of our sessions. But I could tell you, I feel very comfortable in the foundation he's built. Right? I mean, are there more, techniques that he could teach me, more looping techniques, or some of these more sophisticated things? Yeah, there is. But I feel like he's laid the foundation so that I can at least test things in the future. So, um, of everything, Frank, the one-to-one, I think, of the program is key. And I would tell if anybody would ever ask me why I would do if I would do youth school again, that would be the number one reason is because of the associate.
Yeah, we believe that if we continue to be crypto native, like we're not trying to serve all markets or do all things, we're just trying to really focus in on the crypto asset class, and we really express ourselves that way, we'll continue to attract talent that wants to be crypto native as well and really cares. We don't want to hire like general people and then try and train them on crypto. We want people who love crypto more than anything to come to us, and then we help coach them on how to have clients like you. And so I like that strategy, and we're going to continue with it because you can see by some of the guys that we have on the live calls, like Reed or Sean, we really have some guys that just obsess over this market and everything to do with it. Has that been your experience with the live calls?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, I haven't had as much time for the live calls, but the ones that I've clicked in, it's I don't know how they can input all that data and spit it out. Because you could tell what they're showing us is only a little part of what they've done. So not that I can fully appreciate all the live calls yet, Frank, but I'm starting to be able to understand like why they're highlighting some of these projects, right? Um, the other thing is like I never really understood why I should invest in a certain project.
Have you had some successes in any of the investments you've made since joining Yield School?
Oh yeah. So I some of them I will say I got it doubled quite quickly within a month or two, right?
Right.
And then what I did was is when I doubled, I immediately sticking to the plan, I did sell, and I had more additional equity to then invest in additional coins or in additional projects, right? So I started with, I think 12 projects, or 12 or 15, leaving house money in and then taking all the profits out. I think I'm up to about 21 coins now. So yes, I have made, I have been successful in sort of expanding the portfolio from some of the profits. I have put more equity in, but a lot of my expansion has been from the profits I've made with just the 2x or the 4x. Um, Now this is I I have to be transparent. I could have done more, but I did get sucked in at one point by my emotional, oh, it's going to go higher, so let's just wait. And of course it didn't, right? That was a lesson learned, because I learned at that point that I should have stuck to the plan. Then I would have probably been able to expand even more. But success, yes. So even that lesson learned, Frank, to me is a success. But from
Right.
a financial point of view, yes, I've expanded my portfolio because of some of the gains that I've made.
Great. I'm glad. And I'm not trying to hype you up, but I am just trying to keep you disciplined and focused, even if you don't have Raphael in your corner. We do still have the cycle to go. I can't predict the future, and so maybe not, but pretty much every metric is pointing towards us still having the cycle to go. And so if you keep up the practice and you still keep putting in the time, a bit of time each week, you're not going to be playing catch up when the zone really kicks in. You're going to be there and ready with the portfolio, and that 2x will look a lot healthier. So you're looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to it as well. It's a fun time. Would you recommend Yield School?
Of course. Yes, I would. I hands down, it's I if my testimonial helps, was I hesitant in the beginning, Frank? Absolutely, was very hesitant. I mean, first, this came off of social media, and I was like, okay, do I trust this? But I did. I mean, you were convincing enough that I clicked. But once I started meeting people within your team, I started to feel much more comfortable. Like if I would have met you like this, I probably would have been more comfortable, but I know it's not possible for you.
Mhm.
But my hesitation, uh, uh, you know, it must have gone away, because after my first call, I did sign up, right? Because I could see what the package was. But from that first call with I forget his name. He was a gatekeeper. I remember he says he was the gatekeeper. But anyway, um, from that point to this point, I've gone from 50% to 100, over 100%, because again, um, I don't think the upfront, what you are able to sort of explain on your posts or your videos or whatever, it in no way, it doesn't come close to explaining what you're actually offering. Um, so Trust Go, I went with, is it Trust Pilot? Trust Pilot.
Yeah, Trustpilot.
Yeah, so Trust Pilot helped me say, okay, I'll try this. I think if somebody asked me, I would say it was 100% worth it after knowing what you get for the tuition that you pay. I mean, it's, I mean, that's, I paid, that wasn't even a college credit for my kids, but I think I get a lot more for, for, for that one college credit than my kids got in their classes, right?
Right. And that's why, yeah, that's exactly it. That's how we rationalize it as well. It's actually not that difficult of a market, and it does perform extremely well if you just stick at it for a 1 to 2 year time frame. Like actually very well. if you stick at it at the right way. And so if you're coming at it with a 5-figure or 6-figure, or of course, some of our members, they've got 7-figure portfolios. We think for them, it's just a very clear ROI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely. It completely. And yeah, I think that will happen. I've been a member, for only 3 or 4 months, but do I have any doubt? No, not really. I just have learned it takes time, and I'm not going to rush it, because if you try to rush it, I think that's where I know I would fall into some of the common mistakes. So I've learned my discipline piece, I've learned my patience, and I've learned, just stick with it.